Hello guys and welcome back to Planetary Annihilation. Today I'm casting a game that I just had. It's a 1v1 ranked match. I'm up here in green and down here is AlwaysPrime in blue. Now this is probably one of the first naval matches that I'd played in about half a year, so I really have I really wouldn't copy my build is basically what I'm saying. I've no idea how effective and how much I can remember about how to play naval. So yeah, let's see what happens. It looks as though we've got incredibly similar starts. We've both got naval factory, energy plant, then an air factory. Although he seems to be building some piranhas. That's what they're called. Yep, piranhas instead of getting more fabricators and combat fabricators up. It actually took him quite a while to get these moving, which perhaps was a mistake. So I think he might have been able to get in a bit quicker and kill off my fabricators quickly. But I don't know, he didn't lose much time. And that's interesting, he's actually building air fabricators. And he has storage queued up. Not exactly sure about the merits of that. Air fabricators on this map can definitely be good. I mean, if you send out a few into different directions, and most importantly, don't let the enemy scout and let them know that you've got air fabricators, then you might work out quite well. Now you can see I've started reclaiming my commander with one of these boat combat fabricators, something that he hasn't done yet, and you can see it's really hurting him. I'm currently on 60% efficiency because I've messed up the amount of energy that I have. Oh, there we go, I'm back to 100, but you can see I've got 86 against 41 metal income. So it's definitely helping me get a few extra units out early on. And if you have a look there, I have in fact scouted that he's got air fabricators, which is not very good for him. Maybe he should have... Maybe keeping these air fabricators near to his base and building metal with them wasn't the best of ideas. I think if you are going to go air fabricators, you don't want to use them to build your base metal, really. You want to send them out to places away from your base where the enemy is less likely to be scouting at that particular time. Right, yeah, I definitely am not sure why he built that metal storage there while he was stalling on metal. Probably not a great idea, and he is now getting out this barnacle, that's what they're called, the combat fabricator, to reclaim his commander. Almost certainly anyway, and that is just about enough to get his metal back on track at this point in the game, but it might just be a little bit too late. If you look at the efficiencies, all my factories have been working at 100% efficiency for most of the game. And cut. So, I just found out that if you click this close button here, it skips to the end of the game. Even though I am actually in a replay. I didn't just finish this game and now I'm in the chronocam, which is a little bit odd, but there you go. So, no spoilers. Nothing has happened here at all. Yeah, so he is building now an energy storage. Now, storage on naval planets is slightly more acceptable in my mind than storage everywhere else, and he's got a useful air fabricator that isn't inside his base, and he's building some metal for him. Isn't that wonderful? What a helpful little air fabricator. And he has started reclaiming his commander, so he is now 13 metal ahead of me. Oh no. What am I doing? I am slowly creeping down here with a couple of naval fabricators protected by these guys, and building some torpedo launchers in case he decides to send some piranhas out there. Had a couple of piranhas over there looking for fabricators, but they didn't find any, and now they're dying to a bomber. And blue is starting on his T2 naval with a commander and one fabricator. I still haven't done that. Have I queued one up? No, I haven't, but I think this line of energy is the line of energy that I'm building to building some extra fabricators to build that, so it is on my mind. And if you see, I just lost that air fabricator there. I really think me scouting his air fabricators right at the beginning of the game made quite a big difference to the outcome of this game, because I was definitely at this point obviously didn't see his comm there. Lost my bomber and almost killed his fabricator. But yeah, at this point I was using my air to go around the map and scout basically everywhere that could have an air fabricator at it, which I probably wouldn't have remembered to do, even though I should have. I probably wouldn't have remembered to do that if I had just been, I'd just been assuming that he has naval fabricators to expand. Lost a couple of piranhas there, but they did their job. They killed that metal extractor, and you can see I am now again ahead on metal while I'm reclaiming. But I'm getting to the kind of commander health, 57, where I might want to think about trying to stop reclaiming, and now I've started my T2, while his is already done. That is something that I did not scout, and I'm quite surprised about that. Interesting. I definitely should have been keeping better scouting on whether or not this T2 had been completed, and also what units it was building, because I think if I had noticed that it was building Krakens, earlier on, then I would have gone much heavier into the air and got some bombers out at least. Now this is a significant amount of units here. These submarines do have fairly good DPS. At this point I have scouted his commander, and I've got two options here. I can try move them, let's pause while I talk for a minute. I could either try and move them away from the commander over here and try to take out the naval factory, or I could just focus down the commander. Now, if he hadn't been reclaiming his commander and his commander wasn't already way down to 50% health, as it was before I started attacking, I would probably have gone for this, though maybe I wouldn't have been able to get out of the range of this torpedo launcher with enough barracudas to actually destroy that T2 factory. And sinking lots and lots of damage into a T2 factory is a complete waste, really, if you don't manage to kill it. So that's something you have to consider. And yeah, I did decide to go for the commander. He's now down to 32, and I've still got about 3 of these up. Now, one of the interesting things about these subs is because they have such a huge travel time, but the projectiles are homing, it means even after they've died, you still get a few more shots off on them, onto the commander. So he's going to go down a fair significant amount. Now if we go back there, yeah, you see before they went in, he had a safe amount of health, 60%. And then these start dying. They start dying a lot faster after he's built this torpedo launcher, admittedly. But yeah, even after they're dead, look, he's still going down, still gets another hit in there, right down to 10%, which is very significant. Now, what could he have done to prevent that? Perhaps scouting, obviously. A radar would have been nice. He would have got that torpedo launcher up sooner, and he would have run his commander away, and it wouldn't have mattered. Now, problem. He has less metal than I do, and these guys don't really work particularly well against torpedo launchers because they don't have enough HP. Oh, and look at that. Another problem. He didn't start reclaiming his commander after his commander got down to 10% health. So he ended up killing himself. Well, there you go. Let's have a look at what was happening just before he died. Okay, so if we take this point and pretend that his comm is still on 10% health, then I've just got this up. I was building a Leviathan for some reason. I don't know if this would have worked. It's perhaps a good idea. Leviathans are nice. I like Leviathans. I think my plan was to build a Leviathan and then have these guys build a forward radar. Though perhaps against Krakens, Leviathans are probably not the best choice. But yeah, I'm not going to get this up for quite a while, because if you notice I am stalling on metal, and I don't really want to keep reclaiming my commander. So even though he does have less metal than I do have worse efficiency, so it's going to take me longer to get these T2 fabricators out and actually get that economy going again. So really, this game was still it was still up for grabs. He would have had to expand very quickly, but he does have this air fabricator out and a T2 fabricator that is well on the way to being completed, and that could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T2, 7 T2 metal extractors up in a not completely outlandish amount of time. So yeah, maybe he did have a chance. Still, I think he could have definitely built more air. I think if you're going to build Krakens, you really do need air dominance, and if you have a look, he has 2 air factories against 3, but with a much bigger amount of air units in play. Well, that's a shame. It doesn't actually show air units. Well, the main difference between how we played in this game really was he went T2 a hell of a lot earlier. Now, if we go back to where my Barracudas managed to get in, that's about here. This is something that could have been easily countered with just a radar. Oh, wait, he did have a radar. Alright, so we could see them from here. So maybe he just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, let's see. Sees units now. Big blob of units going towards his base. Well, reasonably sized blob of units. Starts building torpedo launchers here. Then he's probably got 2 or 3 up. Perhaps 2. And his commander is on the other side of his base now. So he doesn't lose any health on his commander, and he would definitely not have lost this T2 factory. Now, and I would have lost those units, and I don't think I had very many others. If we have a look, I had 3 Barracudas there, a few more on my base, a lot of air, and I hadn't got that T2 up yet. So if that had happened, then it is quite possible that he would have won this game. It is pretty likely, actually, though he would have had to have played very carefully from here on out to get those Krakens actually into my base, because there's a fair few torpedo launchers between here and there, and he would have definitely needed more T1. That's a good point, actually. In lots of naval games, even if you have the T2, if you want to go for those really big impact units like the Kraken, then you really can't unless you have enough T1 to kind of escort them, and enough air. So yeah, maybe I'd always thought of T2 naval as a really, really good option early on, but maybe obviously it doesn't work out every time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video, and see you in the next one.